one thing I learned when dealing with mistakes. My my mentor Bob, he's retired now. He was in the military for I think 25 years in the Air Force, and it's one thing Bob said to me. He's like, mistakes are going to happen because nobody is perfect. You just don't want to make those really big mistakes, and the big mistakes are really breaking the law. And there's a lot of law that can be broken, like somebody gives you earnest money, even in a check or a money order, but they put it in my name. We're not allowed to do that. It goes in the name of the broker. But if I take it to a bank and get it, I'm not supposed to touch anybody's cash. I will not touch anybody's cash. So the larger mistakes that can really cost you your license, I have avoided all of those. Now, the other mistakes that can happen is my number one thing when I'm working with the buyer is the protection of the earnest money. And some of the videos that I will do to explain this, especially to our first time buyers, once you find a house you like, once you submit an offer, once that offer is counter offered and we come to have a meeting of the minds and we go under contract, there's a due diligence period. This is probably the most stressful time for me because whatever that due diligence period is, my buyer has the ability to inspect that property for basically physical defects. They can go back in themselves, but it's only for a certain amount of time. And I am talking to the hour. If you go under contract at 10 a.m., whether it's 3, 7, 10, and maybe 14 for a person that lives out of town, a reload needs more time some person that's relocated to the area, they may need more time of due diligence. Whatever that time period is, it's yes or no, are we going to keep moving forward? Because during that whole time period, the buyer can get their earnest money back, which could be anywhere from, as much as 3% of the value of the house. $300,000 house, you could be talking about $9,000 on the line, right? So at the end of that due diligence period, what I do, I write up the termination agreement saying we want to get out, but I'll move the date. Well, I'll set the date for the time, especially when we get close to the end. I'll set the due diligence document to say, the termination document to say we want out of this agreement, because you don't want to have paperwork or computer issues or your network to be responsible for losing someone's earnest money. If they want out, whether it's cold feet or whether it's a shadow in the concrete that the inspector talked about, and you want to see if you can fix it, no matter what it is, you don't even have to really have a reason. The due diligence period allows the buyer to exit from that agreement without losing anything other than maybe money they spent on gas going over there or paying a home inspector. So that is the biggest mistake that can be made. And I had one occasion where we lost someone's earnest money, and that happened because a father was going to buy his daughter a house because she was getting married. And unfortunately, the fiance lost his life. So we wrote I think it was a HUD home. So we wrote the government to see if we could get the money back and explain what was going on. And they said no. And that was just beyond my control. It does happen to the best of them, but that was a weird situation. Fortunately, though, it wasn't one of those 1, 2, 3% deals. It was $1,000 and it was gone. But everybody was understanding, great people. It's a little disappointing because we thought there would be more understanding, but the big mistakes, stayed away from them. The smaller mistakes, sometimes you can't avoid them. But the little paperwork issues, these things come up at times, and everything can be corrected. You just want to make sure you do your proofreading, check your dates, check the years. We use a lot of automated forms. Computers are not perfect, and sometimes they don't come through. So we try to do things in a timely manner. We try to make sure we set time to do them in a proper make sure that we have enough time to be accurate. Make sure our words are together so we don't make concessions to the other side that we didn't mean to make. So as long as you're taking your time and treating this like a profession, not like something to do on the weekend, then you should be fine, because I know I have been.